Hello. So I just realized what this weekend really is. Let me just tell you a really funny story about what happened on this day a year ago. So the reason why I said this weekend is really special, it's because I finally got a brother a year ago this weekend. My sister got married, Charlene, my older sister. I have two older sisters, if you didn't know, Charlene and Cindy. And Charlene got married to my brother-in-law, Michael, on October 29th. And it was an amazing ceremony, but there was a slight glitch in that weekend. So they got married on a Saturday. Obviously the 29th was a Saturday. So I took off pretty much the whole entire weekend. I took Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday off. Big shocker, because at that time I was working a full-time job at Misericordia, part-time job at IRM, and I was going to school part-time. So it was like, oh my god, Chrissy's taking 4 days off? The world's gonna end. Which it didn't, but you know, it probably could have. So I left on the 27th from my home in Kingston, Pennsylvania, to spend the night with Cindy, who lives in Germantown, Maryland. So that all I would have to do is just travel like maybe an hour and a half to 2 hours to Baltimore from where she lives. But as I got there late because I got lost, which is ironic because Cindy only lives maybe like an hour and a half to 2 hours from Gettysburg. So it shouldn't be that hard to get to Gettysburg, which is my favorite historical places in Pennsylvania besides Philadelphia. I'm sorry, I have Brooklyn with me on the bed right now. But I somehow or another I lost my GPS from my car, and so I think it might have been because my mom had used it and then she gave it back to me and I didn't put it in my car right away. Yeah, I used to have a 2004 Hyundai Santa Fe, so I didn't have a built-in GPS system. I only had like the little mini tom-toms. So for some odd reason I didn't immediately put it back into my car, and I'm like, I know how to get to Cindy's, it's no issues. Lo and behold, I missed the exit. I don't know how I missed it, but I just kept driving, and so what should have only taken maybe 3 hours took like 6. Like maybe 3 to 6 hours. And if you hear that whirling sound, I'm just doing laundry, so pardon that. But once I got to Cindy's place, I brought my stuff up that I needed, and I walked to, one thing I love about where Cindy lives is the main street that she has, like right where she lives, is absolutely adorable. It's, I loved taking Byron for walks on that street. So many different restaurants, and one of my favorite restaurants that was on this street, and it's called Ann Pizza, and it's, oh my god, oh, one of like the best pizza places that I know of. And I'm from northeastern Pennsylvania. I live maybe like 20 or 30 minutes or less from Old Forge, which is the pizza capital of, you know, the world. And what they do is they have different types of dough. So if you're trying to be health conscious or you're a vegan, they do have those options. They also have many different options. So if you're a carnivore, vegetarian, vegetarian or vegan, you also have different options. So I think I got vegan sausage, spinach, caramelized onions, balsamic, and like vegan cheese, vegan mozzarella or something, and it was delicious. Ha, love it. So as I'm eating my dinner, Charlene calls and asks Cindy if I'm with her, and she's like, yeah, Chrissy's with me. Why? What's going on? And she's like, ha, funny guys, we kind of forgot our marriage license back home. Now you have to realize Cindy lives in Northern Maryland, so that's above the DC Beltway. Charlene, from where I used to live in Kingston, Pennsylvania, it's a 5-hour drive. So I think from where Cindy's apartment to Charlene's house, oh my god, I think it has to be between like 2 to 3 hours difference. Because you're talking about the northern part of Maryland to like the southern part of Maryland. And so Charlene's like, yeah, we're at one of the country clubs. Would you mind, you know, coming to get the keys to get the marriage license, because the next day is the rehearsals, and you know, she's busy. Like, she's in wedding day mode. Like, she has so much stuff that she has to do that Cindy's like, well, I'm busy right now, but I'll ask Chrissy, or I'll tell Chrissy, as Cindy always does, I'll tell Chrissy to go to the Baltimore Country Club, which has 2 locations. The one was not, the one where they were eating was not where the reception and where the whole ceremony and reception was at. So they were at the other one for dinner. So in Cindy's BMW, which I've never driven before, this was like the first time I drove her Beamer, with Byron in the car, no less, I drove to where Charlene and the Logan clan had dinner at like 7 or 8 o'clock at night, and I got the key, and then I ended up going. Luckily the next day I didn't have that much stuff to do. I had to bring Byron to his vet, which has a shelter. So that's where he stayed Friday, Saturday, and then Cindy picked him up on Sunday. So I drove, luckily, because I had to drive past, I had to drive on the DC Beltway, which luckily for me, at the time that I was driving on it, there was not that much traffic. It wasn't bad. Normally it's very crazy, chaotic, and hectic. So I was lucky that I didn't have any traffic problems. So I get to Charlene's place, and I get the marriage license, and I'm like, oh, is this what you guys want? And I hold a picture and I send it to her. She's like, yeah. So it was like from Charlene's place to Baltimore, it was like 2.5 hours. I don't know. So I get there. I'm like, here you go, Charlene. She's like, thank you. I'm like, maid of honor points for me. If you didn't know, Charlene had both of us, Cindy and I, as maid of honors. But I was maid of honor too. I had that, me going to her place the day of the rehearsals should have made me '1, but birth order stinks. So after I got to where we were staying, I, quickly took a quick shower, got ready. Which is really funny because in the morning I forgot my solution, and I used Cindy's. And it's one of those solutions where you have to have like a specific container for it. and I didn't have that, and so I put the contacts in my eye. I'm like, my eyes are burning. So I called my mom, like, Mom, you need to like bring my contacts with me and where they're at, or else I'm gonna be wearing my old glasses for the wedding. And so we got ready. It's so weird that I just remember all these details from a year ago. But Charlene was just like, yeah, do you want to come with me? I need to get one last thing. I think it had to do with her rings, or her ring. I think it was her ring was too big and they were fixing it at Jared's. I think that's where we went to. But literally right when we got back, you know, I met some of the guys that were that were groomsmen, and so by the time we got back and we were getting ready to head out to the Baltimore Country Club for the rehearsal and the dinner, like, we started seeing everybody from our family. So I saw my Uncle Bob, my Aunt Nancy, my cousin Jason, his wife Kristen, their son Jackson. This was like the first time I saw him, and you know, everybody was just arriving, and it was just a fun weekend. But it was also a sad weekend because it's the first of us 3 Reed sisters getting married, and you know, it was one of those big events because my dad wasn't there. If you didn't know, my dad passed away 6 years ago. No, well, now it's like almost 7.5 years, but he passed away June 20th 2010. So you know, he got to see Charlene graduate from Westchester University, but he never got to see Cindy graduate from Misericordia. He never got to like see me graduate from Penn College, Cindy with her law degree, me with LCC, and obviously me, you know, coming here to England. So, you know, it was a very emotional weekend, and I'm just like, you know, I would always, throughout the whole entire weekend, I kept constantly asking my mom, sorry, I'm like, Mom, how you doing? How are you holding up? And she, you know, she said she was really good. And you know, I think, you know, the only time we actually ever fully broke down was on the wedding day, when you know, we were good throughout the whole entire service, the whole entire morning when we were getting ready, but it was when traditionally it's the father-daughter dance, and Charlene and my mom were supposed to dance together, but my mom just couldn't. And so she had asked my cousin Mickey, who is only 6 months younger than Charlene, to do the dance. And the minute the first note of Carrie Underwood's Mama came on, you know, she started crying, and well, I mean her, meaning Charlene, she started crying, and then we all just started crying. It was just one of those moments where you're just like, oh, the feels. So, you know, Cindy and I were holding on to each other, crying our eyes out, and then, you know, we went and gave my mom a hug, and then my Uncle Phil was right there with us. And you know, when I mean everybody was crying, like, our side of the family was crying, my brother-in-law's side of the family was crying, and they said the reason why it was very emotional for them was because they've always been used to seeing Charlene's hard side, because Charlene's a social worker, so she has to have this strong exterior of emotions where, you know, she has to keep them in check. And so the moment, you know, they all saw her crying, it was just like, oh, okay, you know, this is a real deal here right now. And so after the dance, we're just like, all right, we need to check our makeup. And so we went to the bathroom, and very surprisingly, even though we were crying our eyes out, our makeup was still amazing. It was awesome. Like, the person who did our makeup, good job. And even our cousin Mickey was just like, whoever did your makeup, girls, no smudge, nothing. And so it ended up being, Cindy was just like, I hate you guys suck, you made me cry. But obviously, as the maid of honors, we had to give our speech. We were supposed to go first, but immediately right after, we're just like, here's the microphone again, because we are emotionally not ready to give this speech. So Mike's older brothers gave the speech, and then we gave our speech, and then, you know, after that, it was just the rest of the night was just fun. And, you know, we just had an awesome time at the wedding, and it was just awesome. So I probably will wait. Actually, no, I'll probably do this. I'll probably post it tomorrow. But yeah, that's the wedding weekend and the hilariousness, the of everything. So even though I am a day or two early, happy 1-year anniversary, Charlene and Mike from England. Do something fun, go apple picking. It's on a Sunday, so you guys are probably gonna be watching the Ravens game. Enjoy. Mwah. Bye. Bye. Bye, guys.